The marble corridors of the Capitol building had never felt this heavy, as Senator Ted Cruz walked toward what he knew would be the most dangerous conversation of his political career. 6 weeks had passed since that explosive encounter with Jonathan Roumie that had been captured by hidden cameras and leaked to every major news network in America. Tonight, there were no cameras, no press, no witnesses. Just two men meeting in the shadows of the Senate prayer room at 11:47 p.m. What happened in the next 47 minutes would either destroy Cruz's political legacy forever or transform him into something the political world had never seen before. The senator's hands were trembling as he approached the oak doors, knowing that Jonathan was already waiting inside with a manila envelope containing something that would change everything Cruz thought he knew about power, faith, and what it really means to serve God in the halls of government. The expensive Armani suits that had become his political armor were gone tonight, replaced by a simple, white button-down shirt that hung loose on his frame, evidence of the 23 pounds he had lost in sleepless nights of wrestling with questions that had no political answers. His usual confident stride, the one that had carried him through Senate battles and presidential campaigns, had been replaced by something his closest advisors had never witnessed in 2 decades of working with him: genuine fear. Not fear of losing an election or facing political opposition, but the terrifying fear of a man who was about to discover that everything he had built his identity on was a lie. The security guards had been dismissed for the evening, the cleaning staff sent home early, and even his most trusted aides had no idea where their boss had disappeared to after the last vote of the day. "Senator," Jonathan said quietly, as Cruz pushed open the heavy doors, his voice carrying none of the confrontational edge that had marked their public encounters. "Thank you for coming. I know this wasn't easy for you." The prayer room was dimly lit by a single lamp, casting long shadows across the walls, lined with verses from Scripture that Cruz had walked past thousands of times without really seeing. Tonight, every word seemed to burn into his consciousness like accusations. Jonathan sat in a simple wooden chair, the manila envelope resting on the small table between them, and for the first time in his political career, Ted Cruz understood what it meant to feel completely powerless. This wasn't a debate he could win with constitutional arguments or political maneuvering. This was something far more dangerous. This was about truth. If you believe that God can reach even the most hardened political heart, that no one is too proud or too powerful to be humbled by divine grace, hit that like button right now and comment "breakthrough" below. What you're about to witness will challenge everything you think you know about faith, politics, and the price of authentic transformation. The envelope contained 3 items that would shatter Cruz's carefully constructed worldview in the next 45 minutes. A handwritten letter from his own daughter, asking why Daddy was so angry all the time. A recording of a private phone call he thought no one had heard. And a single photograph that would prove Jonathan had been investigating something about Cruz's past that even his closest allies didn't know. "Before we go any further," Jonathan said, his voice gentle but firm, "I need you to understand that what happens in this room tonight will either set you free or destroy you completely. There's no middle ground with the truth, Senator. You can't partially surrender to God while keeping one foot in the political game that's been consuming your soul." 6 weeks. That's all it took for Ted Cruz's political empire to crumble into dust. After that explosive encounter with Jonathan went viral, 3 major donors yanked $47 million in 48 hours. His approval ratings plummeted 23 points. The Texas GOP held emergency meetings questioning his mental fitness. Death threats poured in from extremists calling him a traitor. But the real devastation wasn't political. It was personal. His wife Heidi found him crying at 3 a.m., clutching a Bible he hadn't touched since childhood, asking questions about forgiveness that terrified her. Their daughters wondered why Daddy stopped yelling at the TV, why he walked alone in the backyard instead of working his phone. The constitutional warrior, who had all the answers, couldn't answer the simplest question from his 8-year-old. Why do you seem so sad, Daddy? 3 senior staffers quit. The media ran psychological profiles suggesting everything from breakdown to dementia. Liberal commentators mocked his convenient Jesus moment as political theater. His own party whispered about primary challenges. Every metric that defined success in Washington showed Ted Cruz was finished. Yet something impossible was happening. Through all the carnage, Cruz felt a peace that made no sense. The rage that had fueled 20 years of political warfare, rage at liberals, media, opponents, anyone who questioned him, had vanished. His wife told her sister it was like living with a different man, someone who actually listened instead of calculating his next attack. The last 6 weeks have been like political chemotherapy, Cruz confessed, hours before the secret meeting. Everything had to be stripped away. The anger, the fighting, the armor, all of it. His voice cracked. But underneath, I found something terrifying. I found out who Ted Cruz really is without the Senate title, and I don't like what I discovered. Losing everything had made him feel more complete than having everything ever had. Tonight, with nothing left but his pride, Ted Cruz was about to discover what freedom really meant. Jonathan opened the envelope. This will destroy your pride or set you free. First item, a purple crayon letter from his 8-year-old daughter. Dear God, please help Daddy stop being angry. Other kids have daddies who laugh. Mine only talks about people he hates. When I asked why Daddy yells at TV, Mommy cried. Please make Daddy happy. Love, Catherine. P.S. I hid this so Daddy won't get mad at me too. Cruz's hands shook. His daughter saw him as just an angry man who made Mommy cry. Your wife called me, Jonathan said. She's praying for a miracle. Second item, a recording device. Cruz heard his own voice. I don't care if it hurts people. Politics is winning. These voters are stupid. I tell them about God, then do whatever keeps me in power. When did I start using God as a political tool? Cruz whispered. Third item, a photograph. Him with an anti-Christian lobbyist at a secret dinner where he killed a religious freedom bill for $2 million. Every time you chose between faith and power, Jonathan said, you chose power. If you believe politicians can't change, comment IMPOSSIBLE. If you think God transforms any heart, comment breakthrough and hit like. I became everything I campaigned against, Cruz said. My daughter sees a stranger. My wife prays for miracles. I told myself it was for good, but it was just ego. God isn't punishing you. He's preparing you, Jonathan said. We can't receive what he wants while our hands hold what we've given ourselves. Cruz understood. 20 years of holding power left no room for God's plans. 48 hours later, Cruz sat across from Jonathan on live television. Not Fox News or CNN, a small Christian network that reached 12 million homes. The studio felt different. No screaming audience, no political theater. Just 2 chairs and the weight of truth. Senator Cruz, the host began, America is watching. What do you want to say? Cruz looked directly into the camera. His voice was steady but broken. 48 hours ago, I saw 3 things that shattered everything I thought I knew about myself. A letter from my daughter asking God to make me stop being angry. A recording of me calling voters stupid while using God's name for political gain. And a photograph proving I sold out my faith for $2 million. The studio was dead silent. Even the camera operator stopped moving. Today, I want to publicly apologize to every person who voted for me, thinking I would represent Christ's love. Instead, I represented political hatred. I apologize to my wife, who's been married to a stranger consumed by power. I apologize to my daughters, who see their father as an angry man instead of a loving dad. Jonathan watched tears stream down Cruz's face. The same man who had built his career on never showing weakness was breaking completely on national television. I was wrong about everything, Cruz continued. I thought serving God meant winning political battles. I thought representing Christians meant attacking their enemies. I thought constitutional law was more important than God's law. I was wrong. If you're watching a man's entire identity crumble on live TV, and you believe this kind of honesty takes more courage than any political speech, hit that like button and comment courage below. 3 days ago, I did something I haven't done since I was 8 years old. Cruz's voice cracked. I got on my knees in the Senate prayer room and asked Jesus to forgive me for using his name to build my own kingdom instead of serving his kingdom. The confession sent shockwaves through political and Christian communities simultaneously. Social media exploded. Phone lines at churches across Texas jammed with calls. But I can't keep this private anymore, Cruz said, standing up from his chair. I want to publicly surrender my life to Jesus Christ right now, on live television, because I'm tired of being a fake Christian who uses God for politics instead of serving God through politics. Jonathan stood with him. Ted, are you sure? This will cost you everything. I've already lost everything that matters, Cruz replied. Now I want to find everything that lasts. What happened next stunned 12 million viewers and changed American politics forever. Cruz knelt down on live television. 12 million viewers held their breath. Jonathan knelt beside him as Cruz began to pray with a broken voice that had once commanded Senate floors. Jesus, I come to you with nothing. For 20 years, I used your name to win elections instead of win souls. I turned your gospel into political weapons. I made people hate in your name instead of love in your name. His voice cracked completely. I confess, I've been a politician pretending to be a Christian instead of a Christian serving in politics. I've worshipped power more than I've worshipped you. I've served my ambition more than I've served your kingdom. Jonathan prayed with him. Father, thank you for breaking through 20 years of political pride to reach Ted's heart. Then, something supernatural happened. Phone calls started flooding in from across America. A farmer in Iowa called his pastor crying, saying he needed to get right with God. A businessman in Florida drove straight to his church after watching. A mother in California gathered her family to pray. Jesus, I surrender my Senate seat to you, Cruz continued. My political future, my reputation, my career, take it all. I don't want to be Senator Cruz anymore. I want to be your servant Ted. If you're watching the most powerful moment in political history, and you believe God can transform anyone, smash that like button and comment, transformed below. Cruz opened his eyes, still kneeling. I feel different. The anger is gone. The hatred is gone. For the first time in 20 years, I feel peace. He stood up, facing the camera. To everyone watching, what just happened wasn't planned. This wasn't political theater. This was the most real moment of my entire life. If God can save a politician who used his name for power, he can save anyone. Jonathan smiled through tears. Ted, you just joined the greatest family in the universe. You have millions of brothers and sisters celebrating with you right now. But Cruz wasn't finished. He made an announcement that shocked everyone. I'm giving away my entire campaign war chest, $23 million, to Christian ministries serving the poor. I'm stepping back from all political fights that divide instead of unite. I want to use my remaining time in the Senate to serve God's agenda, not the Republican agenda or the Democratic agenda. The studio erupted in spontaneous worship. Camera operators were crying. The host was praying. Viewers across America were calling churches, falling to their knees, surrendering their own lives to Christ. In 47 minutes, Ted Cruz went from political warrior to God's servant, and 12 million people witnessed the most powerful conversion in modern history. Within 24 hours, churches across America reported the impossible. Over 50,000 people walked into services asking how to become Christians. The Cruz effect was spreading like wildfire. A Democratic congressman from California called Cruz personally, asking to meet about his own spiritual journey. 3 Republican senators quietly reached out, admitting they'd been using faith for political gain too. The governor of Texas announced he was starting weekly prayer meetings instead of strategy sessions. But the political establishment went nuclear. Republican donors pulled $340 million from various campaigns. Fox News banned Cruz from appearing on any shows. The Senate Minority Leader called an emergency meeting to discuss damage control from Cruz's mental breakdown. Cruz didn't care. He kept his word about everything. He gave away $23 million to homeless shelters and prison ministries. He sold his vacation home, donating the proceeds to Christian schools in poor neighborhoods. He started eating lunch with Democratic senators, praying with them instead of plotting against them. His own staff was stunned by the transformation. The media mocked him mercilessly. Cruz's Christ complex, read one headline. From Constitution to Confusion, mocked another. Liberal commentators called it the greatest political suicide in American history. Conservative pundits said he'd been brainwashed by Hollywood Christianity. None of it touched him. His wife Heidi told reporters, "I have my husband back. My daughters have their father back. He laughs now. He plays games. He's not angry anymore. I don't care what it costs politically. This is worth everything." 6 months later, something unprecedented happened. Cruz's approval ratings in Texas didn't drop. They skyrocketed. Voters saw authenticity they'd never witnessed from any politician. "He actually means what he says about faith now," one poll respondent noted. "He's not just using God talk to get votes anymore." Churches began inviting Cruz to speak, not about politics, but about redemption. His testimony of transformation reached millions who had given up on both politics and faith. "If God can change Ted Cruz," became a common phrase, "He can change anyone." But the most powerful change was at home. His daughter Catherine wrote him a new letter. "Dear Daddy, thank you for not being angry anymore. Now you're like other daddies who laugh and play. I love you. P.S. Mommy doesn't cry anymore." The man who once fought for political power had found something infinitely more valuable: peace with God and his family. And America was watching, wondering if the impossible was actually possible. Right now, as you're watching Ted Cruz's incredible transformation, God is asking you the same question Jonathan asked him. What if you're wrong about everything? Maybe you've been using faith for personal gain instead of personal growth. Maybe you've been serving your own kingdom instead of God's kingdom. Maybe you've been so focused on winning arguments that you've forgotten about winning souls. Maybe your own family sees you as angry, distant, consumed by things that don't really matter. If Ted Cruz, one of the most prideful politicians in America, can humble himself and surrender everything to Jesus, what's stopping you? Maybe you're thinking, "I'm not a politician. I haven't done anything that bad." But here's the truth. We've all built kingdoms we think are more important than God's kingdom. We've all put something, career, money, reputation, control, ahead of Christ's lordship in our lives. If you're ready to stop building your own empire and start serving God's purpose, if you want the same peace Cruz found, if you want your family to see you transformed the way his family did, you can pray this prayer right now. Jesus, I admit I've been serving my own agenda instead of yours. I've been building my own kingdom instead of seeking your kingdom. I surrender my career, my reputation, my future to you. Come into my heart, forgive my pride, and make me the person you created me to be. I choose to follow you from this day forward. If you just prayed that prayer, comment New Life below and hit that like button. If you believe God can transform anyone, politicians, business leaders, teachers, students, parents, anyone who's willing to surrender, share this video with someone who needs to see that change is possible. The same Jesus who saved Ted Cruz is waiting for you. The same grace that transformed a proud politician into a humble servant is available to you right now. The same peace that filled Cruz's heart can fill yours today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for a better time. Don't wait until you have everything figured out. Cruz didn't wait. And look what God did in his life. Your transformation could start today, right now, with a simple prayer of surrender. What's it going to be? Will you keep building your own kingdom? Or will you surrender to the King who can give you a purpose that lasts forever? 1 year after that midnight meeting in the Senate prayer room, Ted Cruz's life looks completely different. He still serves in the Senate, but now he serves people instead of power. He passes bipartisan bills helping the poor. He prays with colleagues instead of plotting against them. He's known as the senator who actually reads his Bible more than his polling data. His marriage is stronger than ever. Heidi says, "I fell in love with him all over again when he became the man God created him to be." His daughters Caroline and Catherine brag to their friends about having the kindest daddy in Texas. The angry politician is gone. The loving father and faithful husband remains. The Cruz Foundation has now given away over $50 million to Christian ministries worldwide. Churches he funds have planted 847 new congregations in unreached areas. His testimony has been viewed 340 million times across all platforms, leading to countless conversions globally. But the most incredible part? Other politicians are following his example. 2 governors, 5 congressmen, and a Supreme Court justice have all publicly surrendered their careers to Christ after watching Cruz's transformation. The Cruz effect continues spreading through Washington like wildfire. Christian leaders worldwide call it the most significant political conversion since the Apostle Paul. When God saves someone with a global platform, and they use it for His glory, one evangelist observed, the ripple effects are eternal. Cruz's story proves no heart is too hard, no pride too deep, no power too great for God's amazing grace. Today, Cruz travels the world, sharing a simple message. If God's grace is powerful enough to save a politician who used his name for personal gain, it's powerful enough to save anyone who calls on his name. Have you experienced that life-changing grace? If not, the same Jesus who transformed Ted Cruz is waiting for you right now. All you have to do is surrender. Like this video, if you believe God can transform any life, and share it with someone who needs to know that change is possible. Tell us in the comments, what would you surrender to God if you knew He could give you the peace and purpose Cruz found? The transformation of Ted Cruz proves that God's grace truly is amazing. Amazing enough to save anyone, change anything, and use even the most unlikely people for His glory. Your transformation could be next.